Today's guest made $100 million with Snapchat stories.
Stop paying influencers. It doesn't work. It's irrelevant. It's outdated. Paying for content is done forever.
After dropping out of high school, he went from selling cars to selling teeth whitening kits with his company Purely White Deluxe.
They're going to tell you that you're crazy or that you have a great job in the car business. Why would you quit? How can you teach me business? How can you teach me to be a millionaire if you've never done it?
Generating tens of millions of dollars a year, he could have simply cashed out, but instead he launched Comfort, which is now the top fashion company on TikTok, making $500 million a year.
Comfort is the fastest growing e-com brand of all time. That's a true fact. Purely White, I would say, is probably one of the slowest growing.
In this episode, we'll dive into his journey from high school dropout to e-com legend, unveil the viral methods he uses to blow up on TikTok, and break down the exact blueprint to build multi-billion-dollar brands. Hudson Leogrande, welcome to the Jack Neal Podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
that was great. That was great.
Of course, brother. Yeah, you have a pretty crazy story. And it's crazy the way in which we met each other. We had a mutual friend. He asked me to go to dinner with Hudson. And I was like, I think I remember that guy. I thought he was from New York, though. And he's like, no, he lives in Miami. I'm like, why do I know that name? And then we see each other at dinner. And turns out we got on a call 4 years ago, for me to do a brand deal for your company at the time, Purely White Deluxe. And we were just talking about this. You said like that was around the time when you started.
Yeah. Purely White. 9 years the business has been around, but the first 4.5 years the business had we had no movement. So Snapchat was the start.
The first how many years?
4 years of the company. I've had the company for 9 years now. We're going on year 9.
Wow.
So when I met you is when we just started actually getting some traction, and it was all because of Snapchat.
How much money have you made with Snapchat stories?
Over 150 million.
And tell me, what is that for people who don't know what you do on Snapchat? Where did it start? What's the process?
So, we don't do the same method that we started with. So we've kind of eliminated that because the algorithm had changed. Once they put mid-roll for paying creators, they started to dilute the views. But before that, you could have 2 to 3 posts a day, and the person could get 4, 5, 6, 7 million views a post. We would put a cold traffic link of a person making a video saying, this is how I get my teeth so white. And then they would follow up with them using the product with another link. And that would drive, at its peak, we had 1,000 creators doing 2 posts a day, probably getting 500 to 700 million views a month. And it was all cold traffic because paid ads didn't work. So Meta didn't work. TikTok Shops wasn't out yet. TikTok was still very beta. I don't even know if they had an ad platform yet. I think people were just doing organic because that was our pivot. We went from when Snapchat failed right to TikTok and then started doing the same thing.
They had the creator marketplace. That was the first thing.
Yep.
Were there other brands on Snapchat stories at the time?
No, we were the only one. So my last Hail Mary was okay, my friend was a verified creator. So they had the gold star on Snapchat and he was like, dude, I'm getting 2 million views a day on my stories. What if I just threw up a Purely White post? And the company went from $100 in sales a day to $4,000 a day in sales. And then he did it the next day and the next day and the next day. And they didn't block the link. They didn't shadow ban him. They kept it perfect and it aligned with all of his views. And people were starting to even message him and they're what's this Purely White company? And then this is when how you and I met. I started taking calls with every single creator. So we had every single person getting on a call with me. I had no team. I was my only employee. I had an EA that she was just starting with me. She had no experience, neither did I. And she would message them on Instagram off my page. We would get on phone calls and then we would pitch them on doing content with us on Snapchat. And then we would just continually drive the funnel of getting people to post every day. And then that's how we got to 1,000 people posting on Snapchat.
The issue I had at the time, and it seemed like the competitive advantage if you were doing TikTok marketing in 2021 or Snapchat marketing, was that you couldn't get in contact with these influencers, or it seemed so hard to get in contact with them.
It was impossible.
Because they were so famous, so many people DMing them on Instagram. There weren't that many TikTokers at the time. And you said you were able to do it. Why?
So it was we would send hundreds of messages a day and a couple people would answer. As soon as we started getting traction, it was a word of mouth play. So those creators would tell their friends who they had their numbers and they were friends with, and then we would pay them a salary to go and recruit for the company. So this way, it's not coming from Hudson, the founder. It's coming from 3.Corey, who is messaging, 5, 10, 15 people a day, like asking them like, hey, if you guys want to make extra money on Snapchat, work with my buddy Hudson. Like he'll send you a teeth whitening kit. Cause that was all we had was just the whitening kit. And he'll just pay you to post every day. And that was how we started. So we were able to kind of break through, but yeah, it was super hard to get in touch with everybody.
Yeah.
But the other thing was like,
is it like that anymore? I've been out of the agency game for 2 years now. And I would assume that you just write a good email at this point. Or send an Instagram DM.
I've never emailed. No one even read. I don't even read. I try not even to read my emails sometimes. So I just message them right on Instagram. I mean, we'll get into it, but like for TikTok now, how we recruit is we'll find them on TikTok. We'll go to their Instagram. We'll DM them, and then we have 5 other people DM them. So you'll get 5 messages from different people, all maybe a mutual, maybe not, maybe verified, maybe a little bit bigger, but someone is going to get through to you. And as soon as they do, they have their own different scripts. And then once they finally answer, they get on a call. I don't take the calls anymore, but like we have a team that does it.
That's some serious alpha, man. 5 messages from big influencers. I mean, I thought it was already some alpha that we use big creators to do outreach for our company. Like not a lot of people do that in general, but using 5 messages at the same time, like you're going to wonder at least what is this thing I'm being reached out about.
And the thing is like we only will work with the people to do outreach that are making serious money with the company. So if I have a content creator saying I make $150,000 a month working with Comfort, I think you'd be a great fit. Like we saw your content, we love it. So it's very authentic because we won't send the message unless, and they do alter the message by person. If like there's a certain video that they liked, maybe they'll link the video. Like we try to make it personal where it's not just like copy, paste, copy, paste. But when you have the results as the content creator, it's very easy for people to align with you. Like it feels more organic than the owner coming in and saying that. It's like, okay, this is me. I work with this company. This is the content that I'm making, and this is how much money I'm making. I think you'd be great. And then bring them into the community, get on calls every week with them, dial in with them, and build them into like this big family. And that's kind of how we do it now. But I know we'll get into that.
And then just out of curiosity, this is ultra specific. Do you do any in-person events, like creator events for the company?
Yeah, so we'll have like brand trips. So we'll take like the top 50 content creators and we'll go to like New York City, or we'll have people come to Miami. It's still fresh, like we've only done 2, but we're trying to do like at least 3 a year.
I think we'll get on why that's important later, but essentially quality, not quantity with creators. And I think that's where you differ from most people talking about there's so much money with TikTok Shop. It's like, oh, we need a bunch of creators. And there's truth to that. But when you're scaling paid ads, like running ads on Facebook, it's more powerful to just have really solid creatives. Would you say that's true?
Yeah. You need to have really solid. So what I like to say is it's for the creators, it's quality over quantity. For the creative, it's quality and quantity combined. So the algorithm is going to pick what the algorithm wants. We may think it's the best creative in the world, but TikTok may say, it's not really that good, and they may not get views. So what I do right now is we do 3 to 5 pieces of content a day per creator. So we have internally 500, and then externally, just affiliates with codes, we have about 350,000. So those people will be like, a lot of them are customers that will say, hey, we really love the brand. We want to earn a commission telling our friends, right? So they feel like they're a part of something, which they are. And then you have the internal creators that we have hand selected that we believe make the best content in the world. And we incubate them and train them exactly how to make content. What's the best hook? We have data scientists that come into our calls and they explain the hook watch time and the middle of content and the call to action and why this hook worked. And if you put the call to action in the beginning of the video instead of the end of the video and you do it twice, like that's the game. And we teach that game. And then we allow them to do quality quantity, but they have guidelines, not real ones. Like they don't have to follow them, but we do share the best videos, the worst videos, what's performing the best, what colors are performing the best, what verbiage is performing the best. And then we have them alter it and they have this list on Notion of just what their best hooks were in previous videos and how to align them into the new content.
That's really great stuff. Yeah, I think you're doing this at an extremely high level. Let's just give everyone, like zoom out a bit.
Sure.
So what brands do you own at the moment? How big are they? How much money are they doing on the internet?
So Comfort is it's It's going to be 3 years in August. The brand is on pace to do 500 million in revenue this year.
And what's Comfort?
Comfort is my clothing brand. So we are the most purchased hoodie in America. We are the #1 brand on TikTok Shop in the world. And we are actually the biggest spender on Snapchat as well. We found out a way to make it work. The Snapchat and TikTok audience are very aligned.
How much money do you spend on Snapchat every month?
Over $150,000 a day on Snapchat. So we found a way to, with our media buyers, just to make it make sense and the halo effect of what Snapchat can do to the other channels.
Media buying on Snapchat is something I'm very interested in because
they thought it didn't work. I made them try it.
You're the only person who does it correctly. Like I will literally go on Snapchat, see some creator like posting their normal content, and then I will see that creator in an ad for Comfort, and I'm like, wait, that was an ad? I thought they were just wearing the hoodie, because it's the same person, or it's one of their friends, or it's just this same community, because there's only so many people that run Snapchat. But I'll let you finish. So Comfort, $500 million a year, and then you have Purely White Deluxe still.
Yeah. Purely White Deluxe is going to do probably 80 million this year. Most of it is TikTok shops and then overflow to Amazon, and we're going to be in Target, every Target in the country in February. So that's kind of the play there. The business is different, and I like to say this all the time, like to people who ask me, like the growth of Comfort or the success of Comfort, and for people who are going to watch this, it's like there is some things when you're starting a business or when you're looking to start a business, like what is it that actually makes the brand click? And the issue that we've noticed is like you need to have a big TAM. And TAM is total addressable market, right? So
how many people will buy this?
Yeah, how many? And with Comfort, we're transgenerational. Like we have kids. We have now Comfort Paws for pets. We have for adults, for teens, for senior citizens. Like everybody can wear it, and it's all unisex. So anybody and everybody that's watching this is like they've all worn a hoodie. So you have that to kind of play into, okay, if I can get into a market that's oversaturated, have a different level of marketing, go into this gray area, actually solve a problem, and really talk about the problem that no one's talked about before. Like they have sensory issues. People want a slightly weighted hoodie that literally feels like a human hug. The way we manufacture our product, it's very, very, very hard to duplicate, which is why no one's been able to do it. And people would say like, oh, it's just a regular hoodie. Like maybe it's a placebo effect or it's marketing. Like the way that we brush our fabric and the exact percentages that we use, it's like we made the perfect hoodie. And we do that across all of our products. We have 5-pound weighted hoodies for people that, people were messaging with children that had autism, and they were wearing the vest and they were getting embarrassed. And we gave them a 5-pound hoodie, which is serving the same purpose as the vest, but no one would know. And those are things that we're playing into because we are a mental health brand. We're trying to change everything. And I think that when you have, there's 3 pillars to a successful brand. There is unbelievable marketing, there's unmatched quality, and then there's an incredible community. And you have to have all 3. You can't have great marketing and a shit product because everyone's gonna be like, oh, I just fell for the marketing. And then you can't have no community because then people aren't gonna come back and buy again. And the whole purpose of building a business is to have customer retention and have people coming back. Like the repeat rate for Comfort is 40%, and we never have stock. So like that to us shows us that we're doing something right. For Purely White, it's almost the opposite. And I'm happy to like talk about these things because it's the truth. Purely White has a way less retention rate.
Really? It's one-time buy.
Yeah, like it's very, very low. It's like 10% retention, and we are
Purely White. Just explain briefly what that is.
So Purely White Deluxe we're an oral care brand, and we originated with the teeth whitening kit when the LED lights were very, very hot, and everybody was using like the LED light whitening kits.
So you insert the little
gel,
syringe.
You put the gel, the syringe, and then you put the LED light in. You pop it in, automatic 10 minutes goes off, and your teeth actually do get whiter. It's like a carbamide peroxide blend, which is hydrogen peroxide and carbamide peroxide. Actually, it really works, but people can get sensitive teeth, and TikTok Shop is not really like a fan of that product because people were giving like a high return rate or bad feedback. So we went into whitening powders, and we originated and created a new category in teeth whitening where now that's our hero product, where we put nanohydroxyapatite, which is it's an alternative to fluoride. and it can still whiten and remineralize your teeth. And we put that into powders where you can dip any toothpaste in, brush your teeth with the powder, and the powder is going to help and has benefits. So now that's the #1 product on TikTok Shop in oral care in the world. Yeah.
And that's under Purely White Deluxe.
Under Purely White Deluxe, we've expanded out with the powder, and we've done variations, and we've done anti-cavity powders, and we've done PAP plus powders, and just things that are like going to really benefit you. And again, like go into the comfort idea of like great marketing, great product quality, things like that, where in the past, Purely White, I wouldn't say it had the best product quality.
The MVP, was it just drop shipped?
No. The powder?
Oh, so the MVP of Purely White Deluxe, like the teeth whitening kit.
No, it
was
wasn't
that just a
drop
dropship product?
No. We bought it in bulk. Okay. Well, I started with $1,000 in my mom's basement, and we didn't know that private labeling was a thing. So we would like buy stickers in one place, buy the boxes in another place, and then we would shrink wrap it with a blow dryer in my mom's kitchen. So like the package was secured, and then we would ship it out, and that's how we kind of started the brand.
So it was somewhat white labeled, somewhat you guys were actually assembling it. But what's so impressive to me about you is that you basically went from this white label, private label kind of mixed product to that was trendy at the time, viral. Like there were so many viral videos about people using teeth whitening kits, and you kind of arbitraged that, capitulated upon that. And then you switched to clothing, which is selling a hoodie is what every influencer you talk to is like, bro, I want to launch a clothing brand. I want to launch merch. And you actually built something where you have a hoodie that makes $500 million a year. So I just don't even understand how that's possible. Like what made you break into that market?
So when I was younger, for a short period of time, I was homeless, and I dropped out of high school. So I was going through a lot of adversity. I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and I was depressed, quite honestly. Like I was going through a really rough time. And what I did was I took that feeling and emotion, and like sometimes all you want is a hug. Like you just want it, like that makes you feel better. There's like studies of if someone hugs you, what that can actually do to your body and your mental. And I was like, what if we came out with a product that kind of emulated a human hug, but in a product? And how does that feel? And we sent it to all of our content creators that were with Purely White. And I asked them, I was like, give me your honest thoughts. Like, don't blow smoke. Like, tell me the truth. And we got a couple people that were like, I haven't taken this off in 3 days. I don't know how I could love a piece of clothing this much. And that was immediately when I was like, okay, we got to do it. I bought Comfort's domain for $5,000 before I even knew that we had a product that was winning yet. I just had the idea of like, you want the name? I messed up with Purely White Deluxe a little bit. Like
I was going to talk about that. I was like, dude, it's not very simple.
It's not. Because I was so oblivious to business that like I had a dentist I was friends with, and he was like, you should just name it like Purely White and add Deluxe. Like Deluxe sounds like it's like very high end. And I was like, okay. So purelywhitedeluxe.com. I would have done Purely White if I could. I still probably should. But Comfort, I was like, I wanted the name of the brand to immediately speak to what the product does. And it makes you feel comfortable. And that was something that everyone was like, you're never going to get a trademark. You're never going to, and I was like, I don't care. Let's just see how this goes. 2.5 years later, get the trademark. So it's kind of like.
Get the trademark for?
Comfort.
The word comfort.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without the O at the end. Yeah. And I think that's important too, is like people just give themselves so many reasons for why it's not going to work. And it's like for us, maybe me being naive and like a little bit delusional helped the process, because if I listen to the people like that we have in my corner now, like the lawyers and the attorneys that we work with, that are like, we might not be able to get it. It's like, it almost refrains you from like even starting the process, because you're like, oh, it's not likely, so maybe let's not start. And it's like, if we had that mindset the whole way, none of this would exist.
So you kind of see it as a product, not as a designer, which I feel like is most people doing hoodies, clothing, they see themselves as designers, and that's usually who you're competing with.
We're selling an emotion.
Yeah.
Like we're selling a feeling. Everything that we do is to evoke emotion. Like that's the whole business model, is I want to make you feel something, Jack. That's it. I want you to feel something. And if I can evoke enough emotion that I can align with you, I can trigger hot points in a video that makes you feel like we're relating now to the video. We talk about the oversized hood, how how we support mental health charities, how, we have every single color you could possibly imagine. You have all of these different things that you're talking about. And then you have somebody through the middle of the video telling you their personal experience with the product and why they love it, all of a sudden, like something clicks. And when that thing clicks, it goes you from your dopamine scroll that you're doing that you're not stopping to, wait a minute, I actually align with this. Oh, it's on sale. Oh, they're always sold out, because you get the FOMO and the scarcity backed by the evoking of emotion. And then now you have a perfect video that people are like, okay, we're going to buy this.
What did the first 30 days of Comfort look like? Because I think about the amount of trust you have to build with clothing products. Like if people just see hoodies while they're scrolling, they usually don't buy it. But if you become like a brand name, I'm assuming you kind of have a monopoly in the market to an extent. And then let me ask you this first. Were there any other competitors doing a similar thing with weighted hoodies?
No.
So you were the first in that market. Did you make that a trend, or was that an upcoming trend that you saw with weighted blankets, weighted pillows?
We created the trend. Yeah, it didn't exist yet, which I have friends that like they create product categories, and I know how hard that is. We obviously didn't create the product, but we just altered the product to serve a different purpose. So people weren't buying something over comfort. They were buying comfort in conjunction with another product or on its own, because they had enough hoodies that were regular in their closet, but they didn't have a comfort hoodie yet. So the idea behind the product was, let's be different to the point that no one can be like, oh, well, I could just buy this because this is the same thing. And once you differentiate yourself enough, they're just going to buy it because they want to try it out. And once they love it, that's how you kind of keep them in.
So what did the first 30 days of Comfort look like?
So the first 30 days of Comfort were interesting. We were in a position where we had no idea how to run a clothing brand. So that was the one thing. Like, we had no idea what we were doing. And we generated $10,000 our first day. We were priced too high.
What was the price?
We were like at $140.
And then what's it now?
We dynamic price test, so that's another thing. Like we actually alter price depending on stock availability. So our customers know that we do this, and if we have an item that only has a couple of units left, the price will be very high. If we have a good amount of stock, which we want to have at all times so we could keep prices low forever, will be more of an affordable price for everyone to buy.
And do you mean by that, do you mean if there are 1,000 units of X hoodie and it goes to 500 units, the price is increased? Or is it like 3 hoodies, one's 1,000, one's 100, one's 10? Like, is it like that, or is it the first one?
So we have it where once the inventory hits a certain threshold, the price changes.
Okay, so sunset inventory kind of, yeah. Okay.
Correct. So you have to change based off availability. And if we can slow down velocity of sales, we're able to keep products in longer. The company can be obviously more profitable on an ad. Well, not necessarily. Sometimes we end up profiting the same because the CPA might be a little bit higher, right? Because
CPA?
CPA is cost per acquisition.
Okay.
So cost per acquisition is what does it cost the company to acquire the customer? So the KPIs, which is key performance indicator, is 2 things for us. It's CPA and ROAS. If we have a great ROAS, like for every dollar we spend, if we make $3 back, and if you do that at $1 million a day spend, you make $3 million a day, you win, right? So that's kind of the idea behind like the media buyers. We like to keep it simple. Is if our CPA is too high, what's wrong with the ad? What's wrong with the product? What's wrong with the price? And then we look at the ROAS and we have to make sure that aligns, which is why that goes back into training and incubating creators to make great content that aligns with our KPIs so that they can make more money because we scale their videos more. Because everything is a Spark ad. So we will put paid ad spend behind all of our content creators. So they still get their commission and we're still spending money behind the ads. So if it makes us money and it makes them more money, it's like a perfect world.
It's so funny seeing the termage you use as opposed to people who are new to this, because the terms used to be different a couple years ago. Like I heard you on another interview say TikTok shops instead of TikTok shop. And then you just said Spark ads. And I'm like, yeah, no one says that anymore. They just say paid ads. I wanted to ask you the sunset dynamic pricing that you talked about, is that something that's commonly done?
No. So there's 2 things that we do that I would say for everybody that is in e-commerce, they should do this. So I bootstrapped Comfort. I had no funding. I own 100% of the company. I was going broke trying to fund the business because the growth was 16 million to 170 million to now 500. So the 16 to 170 was a huge gap for us that we could not clear. I did not have the funding. I would have to take on debt, the whole thing. We then put pre-order on the website that is at all times available. So even if the item is in stock, if you want to wait 2 months, you can get it at a lesser price. So we act as the bank. So we take inventory, we defer inventory 2 months, we take capital up front, we buy the inventory with that capital, and then once the item comes in, then we actually like realize the sale by shipping out the product. And we're very transparent. So the one thing that one of my friends told me, he was like, Hudson, when you're doing this, you have to be proactive instead of reactive. Because if you're reactive with your customers, especially on a pre-order, your chargebacks are going to go through the roof. So what we do is there's 5 different placements from the time you click pre-order to the time you check out and in your email that we're telling you the estimated ship date. So that's something that we have to do because you have to let them know. And there was a delay, unfortunately, in November of all times, right around Black Friday, which was a nightmare. We oversold. And then there was the hurricanes and everything in Florida, and we were shipping into Port of Miami to go to one of our places, and that was delayed at sea. And then we had to delay 3 weeks, and then that was a nightmare for the company. So now we give ourselves more of a buffer. But it was a learning lesson. Pre-order could be a nightmare if you don't do it the right way. But that was the only way we were able to scale properly.
So you said pre-order is the first thing you do. That's really important for e-commerce brands.
Pre-order is the number one thing for a bootstrap company. If you have hype and excitement around a product and people are willing to wait for a lesser price, throw pre-order on your website and be able to understand how much inventory you're buying, how much you can sell, never oversell the amount of inventory you bought, but that will put you in a position where you can win, still capture sales, not have inventory on hand, but have people knowing that they're getting a product at a great price. The one thing about Comfort is it is the most affordable hoodie. We are at a great price point. Our pre-order is $39 for a very high quality hoodie. That's like over 350 GSM. Like it's a great product. And we don't want the contribution margin of our company. So from the sale to the amount of money we actually make on the sale from the ad, it's actually better when our prices are lower. We want to be at a low price. We want to be more appealing to the masses. It goes right back into TAM, right? Our total addressable market is huge. Our demographics are huge. Now, what's the demographic and the price point that fits perfectly? And for us, it's like if I could sell at $40 all day long, I would. But the selling out, which goes back to the first 30 days, like that was our problem. We sold out, and then I was doing napkin math, trying to figure out how much we were going to order next and what color was the best. And one of the craziest things was like one of our best selling colors now was our worst selling color for the first 6 months. Like nobody wanted it. I don't know. We had one video that blew up with somebody wearing it. Actually, Alex Earl wore that color. Like there's only a few people that have that effect. Like there's the Livy Dunns of the world, the Alex Earls of the world, Two Turnt Tony, that cult-like following that will do anything or buy anything that you recommend or showcase. She's one of those people.
There are only a certain number of actual influencers. You know, like people call everyone with followers influencers, but most of them don't have influence.
And then let me go into, now that's the greatest part. Stop fucking paying influencers. It doesn't work. It's irrelevant. It's outdated. Paying for content is done forever. I said it to you 4.5 years ago, and that was like probably one of the first times you heard it. And now it is a real thing. Pay commission. Everybody on TikTok shops is commission. That's it. I know maybe some people pay a retainer and stuff like that. I don't believe in that. Make great content, make great money. Let the brand take all the risk, and then you just make content and we will handle the rest. We'll make sure we have inventory. We'll make sure we have the right colors. We'll make sure that we have the proper products that you can market the right way. We'll do everything for you. You make the commission. Now let's go a step further. High level influencers, right? Like these big influencers that charge 25, 30 grand for a post. You're done. That's obsolete in the next couple of years. You can have a creator with 3,000 followers that understands creative, that is growing at a rapid rate, that makes unlimited videos instead of a one and done video like a big content creator would. So I give you 25 grand. Make me a video. The video flops. The business is out 25 grand. For people that are just starting out that are bootstrapped, that could end their business. That almost ended my business.
It ended ours, yeah.
My biggest content creator I ever paid was Two Turnt Tony. And I love him. And I love his cousin Colton is a great guy. He's his manager. And I told him, I was like, I needed to be 25 grand at the most because they were charging like 50. I was like, I'll do it every month, but 25 grand. If this video flops, that hurts my business so much. We had like 100 grand in the bank account at that point. I was like, that cuts me 25%. So I relied on him, but thank God, cult-like following, they bought. We made some money on that. But there was other times that I did that after the fact, hoping that I would duplicate that out, and it didn't work. So for me, it's like, I'd rather mitigate my risk. My job as a founder, as an entrepreneur, is to mitigate risk at all cost. Pre-order mitigates risk. Dynamic price testing actually can mitigate risk. Having micro-influencers that you pay commission to mitigates risk. I don't pay for upfront content. People at $500 million in revenue are like doing insane brand deals with celebrities and athletes. I don't need anybody because I don't care to have the celebrity face that's driving sales for my business, which doesn't even drive that many sales.
Yeah.
I have people that are relatable. Relatability is key. People don't buy a product, they buy a brand. If I have people that are like-minded, that talk about real-life problems and relate to the consumer, I win. Why would I go have a celebrity face that is unrelatable to most people, go promote my product, and that really just showcases like, oh, they have money now. Oh, they could go afford that now. I'm never changing the strategy. And we've had to pivot so many times to get to this strategy. It's like we did try bigger level influencers on Snapchat, higher, like couple million, subscribers. The follower count on TikTok is irrelevant now. If your videos are not good, they won't drive views. So and also with TikTok shops, if your business is booming, they push those videos, right? Like if GoLee is making videos, if Comfort's making videos, if Purely White, if Guru Ananda is making videos, they pop up more because there's so many people that are posting about them. So it's a trending topic. And then they push the trend to generate the sales because then it makes TikTok more money. And that's kind of the way that we've noticed too, is like the more relatable you can get and the more you could just talk about your life or be in the car and have a conversation, like that content sells.
Something, to put this differently, you said this on a previous interview and you're kind of hinting at it now, but the reason the commission structure is so powerful is because you as a brand can only promote so many products before people get burnt out. And sure, you can get a Netflix brand deal for $20K, but you're gonna get one of those and you're not gonna get it again. But you just promoted Netflix. Now what's better? Doing one Netflix deal for $20K that you don't ever see again, or doing a brand like Comfort that you can promote every single day. It's natural in your content and you end up making $40K over the course of 3 months instead of just having that one-off deal. And you don't have to associate with all these brands. You can pick a couple of brands that you like. Is that kind of how you're thinking about it?
100%. And we thought about that in the beginning because when I had to pitch some of these creators, they were already making money on brand deals. Some of them were coming off TV shows like Too Hot to Handle or Love Island, and they were getting a couple brand deals here and there. And I was like, guys, just do me a favor. Look at it from this perspective. The longevity of working with me 2 times a week at this rate will make you $75,000 for the year. So that's your rent, that's your car payment, that's whatever you want to say it is, but it's guaranteed. I'll never stop working with you. It's not a one-off deal. So take your brand deals, no problem. There's not many teeth whitening companies promoting the way we are. Just take the 75 grand over the course of the year, post 2 times a week. It takes you 15 seconds. Stop giving yourself such a high rate and handicapping yourself. And just take the money with us and grow with us and there's no exclusivity. If you want to stop at any time. And that was the way that I pitched it because it's like, let's zoom out for a second. Stop looking at like the one-time payment that I'm giving you. Look at the time that I'm paying you over the course of a year and what that could mean for you. And if the business grows and if your content gets better, if you generate more sales, your rate goes up. And then when we came out with Comfort, we had 2 brands. And then we have a 3rd brand coming out called Nude, which is going to be filtered shower heads. So like that market is untapped. I know
Nude, how do you spell it?
Nuud. So Nude. Okay. And we have that, and then we have the attachment to the sink where there's companies that are doing it like Jolie, Canopy, Filter Baby. Like there's businesses in the space that are doing it. And I would actually say like they're probably the pioneers of it. Like Filter Baby was like one of the first companies ever to do the filtered sink. Like there was another company, I forget the name of it, but they were doing it for just like drinking water. And then this company just took the same exact model and then just did it for like to wash your face or to wash your hands. It's very interesting, but it's the same product, just a filtration system. But we're doing the same thing with Nude. So it's like,
Dude, that's gonna be huge. Just I'm already seeing people talking about it. The whole tap water trend, drink from glass water
because
only.
it's so true. It's not a gimmick. Like, it's real. Florida, where we are right now, has some of the worst and hardest water in the country. People come here and they go bald. Like, they actually go bald. Like, men lose their hair at a rapid rate. People get eczema. They get dandruff. Like, there's so many things that people get from using hard water, and also like the chlorine in the water and the heavy metals in the water. Like, you're filtering all of that out. So, like, imagine like getting all sweaty and running at the gym, and then going home and then showering and shit. It's like you're cleaning yourself off with dirty water, but you just don't know that you are. Go away for 2 months, go back home to your place and go look at all the yellowish crust that's on the shower because it dried up. It's like, that's all you're showering in that every day.
Do you use a shower filter right
Yeah.
now?
That was why I started it, because I actually bought a filtered shower head. I tried it when I moved to Miami. 2 months into it, my hair was completely different. And I was like, so it works. And then it goes back into great product, great marketing, great community. The community will be huge. It's a recurring subscription. Every 3 months, you replace your filter.
Yeah.
You're not going to buy a product, let the filter go bad, and then just use the shower head because you think it looks cool. So the subscription is the key to the business.
And it's interesting because a lot of people with water filters in their fridge don't replace those because they're like, oh, I don't need to. But the people who would buy a filtered shower head,
Yep.
they're going to take care of it, you know?
Yep.
So it's 3 month repeat buy. And then, okay, you probably don't want to talk about the price points of that. How long did that take to make?
A year and a half.
Okay, so you have a pretty good
I've been working on it a year and a half. It's been the longest to formulate a product ever. We molded the product. We have patents pending on the product. We have like so many different things that we're doing, and we have like future products that we've developed for like V2s and like things that we're doing with the sink. And I think it's just like, it's a harder product to make than a hoodie or a whitening product, honestly.
Have you talked to Luke about this one? Because his brother Nate, he uses a filtered one.
I didn't know that.
And his brother's like super healthy. I don't know if you've talked to him, but like he's like complete health guru, like into some crazy
Well,
stuff.
Luke and I are working on a company. So you were at that dinner. If it happens, I think it will change the way that an influencer-owned brand is viewed forever. I think it's $1 billion company within the first 2 years. I think it will be in every Target and every Walmart in the country. And it will be one of the most unbelievable brands ever developed. That is how big it is. And I think that sometimes we're desensitized in this industry to like, you know, like you don't get too excited because you don't know what's going to happen. This like kept us up all night. So yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I do have some inside info on what that might be, but I do want to ask you about that dinner because Luke pitches you an idea. We're talking about Luke Belmar. He pitches you an idea, and you and your partner start thinking about distribution. You don't start talking about the product immediately. Like, I think there's a quote from Justin Kahn, who founded Twitch, and he's like, first-time founders think about product, second-time founders think about distribution, third-time founders think about product again. But why did your head go straight to distribution on that one?
Because we know we're going to nail the product. The product isn't even a problem. Like, you get to a level in e-commerce, and who we're talking about is Ben from Clean Skin Club. So he's not actually my partner in any business right now. We're collabing with Comfort in his company, but Ben is a pioneer. He created a new category. He created sanitized paper towels that is now going to do north of 9 figures this year in revenue. So he's one of the best founders I've ever met. So he came to that dinner thinking that this person was going to be there and we were going to have a conversation. X person was not there. And then when Luke pitched the idea to us, we immediately thought, like, how do we get the product to the masses? And what does that play look like from an exit perspective? Because everybody that is involved in this is going to want to see an exit in the first 3 years, right? You just want to kind of cash out, sell to a big PE firm or a strategic, and then call it a day. So we were like, if we could get into every Walmart, if we get into every Target, he has the best-selling product in Target stores, and I have the best-selling product online for Target, for Purely White, in personal care. So
Does yours make more than that?
Them in store?
Yeah.
No.
So in store makes more if you're the number one in store versus online.
Yeah.
I guess it's Target, to be fair.
Target in store makes more than online.
How about Walmart? Is that the case?
Yeah, same thing with Walmart. Amazon.
Really?
If Amazon had a store, it wouldn't be the case.
People are still going in store. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Walmart, you can make a lot of money, but like Amazon is like, it's light years ahead. We drive traffic to Target to make Target the number one. Like we drive paid traffic to rank on Target to be number one on Target. But Amazon, if you just have the overflow effect and you rank, or if you have search find buy where people are just typing it in. So for instance, like search find buy is when you have like someone says like whitening powder, and then Purely White comes up first. So in the beginning, when you're starting like a company on Amazon, you're like, okay, if we type in whitening powder, scroll and find Purely White, buy it, it will start to rank to the top because Amazon will be like, oh wait, people are scrolling to page 3 to find this product. Let's put them first. And then once you have enough traction, and then you have people from TikTok that are overflowing and they're typing in Purely White, that keyword is going to say Purely White teeth whitening powder. Then you're going to click that and it's going to rank for both. And then that's kind of how you start that.
Do a lot of people know that?
I know that was a pretty big gem.
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty big. Not a lot of people know search find buy.
How about this one? You just said something about Target. When I was researching ecom briefly a couple months ago, I was like, we talked about it before the podcast. I was looking for my next opportunity, and I was thinking that TikTok Shop might be that for me. And I was like, well, no one's really tackling this Target thing, and no one's really tackling this Walmart thing. Like, what if I could rank on those? Because it seems like no one's trying to get into that. And like, I never hear anyone talking about, I make this much money on Target, I make this much money on like Walmart affiliates. Is that pretty niche too?
Yeah, it's super niche. We're the only company, I would say, in the world that run paid traffic on TikTok to Target with a deep link. So we'll literally bring them to the website so that they could go buy. That's the way that we do it. This is all Purely White. Comfort does not sell anywhere else other than its website and TikTok shops.
Why?
By design. We have too much demand. We don't want to give Amazon a fee to sell on their platform. We actually are the A side. Like they are having duplicate products being sold on their platform. We'll go international first. We'll go into major retail first. And then, you know, if there is a potential exit at a point of the company, we'll leave Amazon open for the buyer. We don't need Amazon. If anything was to change and if we thought that there was a bigger opportunity on Amazon, we would. But there's a lot of companies that strategically won't dilute their brand to sell on Amazon.
Hudson, I feel like every e-com guy I've spoken to that's been somewhat close to your level of success has usually had a supplement product and a beauty product. Why do you have multiple categories of products that you're doing instead of just Purely White? Let me do a bunch of adjacent products to this. Let me be number one in this forever. Like what? Like how? At what point do you make the decision to go from the comfort clothing to this shower head?
I like to, because there's two things when you start a business is like, how bad is the problem and how great is your solution? So for us, the filtered shower head plays great. There's a huge problem in America. We have a better solution than the problem. With Comfort, there was a problem that wasn't being addressed, and we were the solution. For Purely White, what's the alternative to having white teeth? Having yellow teeth. So Purely White was the first idea of like, okay, there's a need for this product. Let's solve a problem. Comfort solves a bigger problem. I believe Nude solves the biggest problem. Everybody showers, so the TAM is gigantic. But if you can bring enough information. So this is my quote that I like to say all the time is like, people don't need time to make a decision, they need information. So that's like the one quote that I use. Actually, I think Hormozy was the first person that I heard use this quote, and I use it all the time, is how do we give enough information to somebody so that they have enough to make a decision? Like if you go to a car dealership, what's the first thing people say? I'm just looking. Okay. Let me give you enough information about the product and make you so excited that you don't have to go anywhere else to make a decision. It's make it right here because you have enough information now. How do we do that with a product? So Nude is perfect. You shower every day. This is what's in your water. Let me show you visibly what is in your water. If I can show you the color of your water, really like the color of it, what does it look like in the pipes? What do the pipes look like? How rusted are those pipes in your building that was built in 1975? Like, how does that look? What is the water underground like? And now let me show you what it looks like when we clean it. What would you rather have? And let's just say it's $100 or $50 to change your entire life, to change all of these different things that you're getting diluted through your water. We might as well just go buy our product. Big problem, better solution. So those are the things that I see is like the marketing. And also I enjoy starting something from nothing. I think that if you can start a product and get people, like the best sale is the first sale. When someone trusted you enough to actually click buy. And to us, like when we have someone that trusts us enough to buy the product, like we want to deliver the best thing we possibly can.
To go back to the bit about the distribution mechanisms, if you had to break it down for me on, let's just say purely white, since it's a little bit more diverse, like what percentage is coming from Walmart, what percentage Target, what percentage Amazon, TikTok Shop?
So I would say TikTok Shop is like 50. And then I would say Amazon is like 30. Target is 20. And then no, that's 50 right there. 30, 20 is 50. So that's 100. So I would say maybe Target is like 5, maybe like 7, and Walmart is like 3. Yeah.
So Target is very underrated, you would say.
Just because they don't have enough demand. There's not enough people shopping in that category on Target to move the needle. Amazon there is. Target there is for some categories like bedding. Like a lot of people, like Casa Luna, I think is exclusive with Target, and they do unbelievable numbers. So if you have a certain product and you get on Target.com, you could rip. And it's very underrated, like you said. Like there's not a lot of people that are like focusing on that because everyone's focused on the rat race on Amazon.
If we had to go into some more gems, if you had, say, $1,000 of capital, actually, I've kind of asked this before, and people usually just say, I would be an affiliate on TikTok Shop. So maybe $100,000 in capital, you wanted to do this, or you just did your pre-order method as well. Like what products would you be looking at? How would you find a good niche? That kind of thing.
It's going to sound like everybody else is doing right now. I would go into supplements. Everyone wants to be healthier and more fit. Everybody is getting more health conscious. So if you could develop or find a product that's selling, that's doing really well, because you don't want to originate the category. You want to find someone that's doing it already, that's ripping it, and then you want to just take that product and make it better. Just be a better version of that product and have better marketing. If the products are great, whoever's the best marketing wins. If your marketing is better, you win. So take a product that works, that people are going to come back and buy it over and over and over again. Supplements, subscription, higher, like the EBITDA multiples are way higher, right? So like if you're exiting the product, so EBITDA is earnings before taxes, interest, and amortization. Like if you go and have that product and it's doing really well and you have your EBITDA is great, your multiple is higher because it's recurring revenue. They pay a lot more money for supplements than they do clothing. So if you think about it from that perspective, like you could go and exit a company with a lot less revenue, but have a lot more gain. And people will buy the product if they see the benefit. So supplements is huge, 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 huge. And then I think filtered shower heads. I think if you have $100,000, you could develop a product, even if you got a ready stock product that worked the right way. And then you just had
what's a ready stock product?
Like a product that's already for, like the manufacturer already has that product in China. They just private label it to your company name.
So drop ship your brand. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, well, you're buying, so drop ship meaning like, maybe I'm confused. Like drop shipping to me is like you have the product in China and then somebody buys the product and then you ship from China to the customer.
Okay, gotcha. I'm thinking Amazon fulfillment.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So like for us, it's like you're going to buy a stock product that China already has or Vietnam or Cambodia already has. And then you're going to put your name on that product, right? Your company name, and then you're going to just sell that product. But once that product has enough sales and you want to reinvent yourself, go open a mold up for 20 grand, go make a product, have it look great, have it be customized to you. And then that also builds into the community when other people can't copy your design, right? Because you want to be different. Like no one's going to go copy Jolie. And if they do with it, they'll get sued because they have the patents to that design. Same thing with Canopy. Like the bigger brands in spaces, like even like if you think about, remember that like the cologne when we were younger, like had like the jacked guy, like the body on it. So like there was like a cologne with like a blue body.
Yeah.
I forget,
I know what
John
you're talking
Paul
about.
or something.
Yeah.
No one could go copy them. They did that. They're the only company that can go and put that exact figure and that logo with that color. Like that's their thing. And people go buy it over and over and over again because they're buying more than just like what the product represents from a quality perspective, but they're buying like the brand.
Trust. Yeah.
Yeah, they trust that product because it's unique to their company. So that's one thing that I always say is like, if you're coming out with a supplement or any type of product, like differentiate yourself as much as you can because you're in the same category no matter what.
Hudson, let me ask you this. So you're doing 500 mil, one product, 100 mil the other, or 200?
No. Purely White will do about 80 million this year.
80 million? So 580. Okay. And then what kind of multiples do you get on clothing?
Could be 5 to 8, 5 to 8x. 8x would be pushing it. I would say like 5 to 7. And what 500 million doesn't matter if your company's not profitable and making money. They're not going to pay on the total revenue. They're going to pay on what you're actually making in revenue. Which that's another thing that people have to watch out for. Like you hear these guys saying, "Oh, we made $500,000 this month on Amazon." What did you really make?
3% profit
What'd
usually.
you make? What'd you make? 15 grand? Okay, cool, no problem. So just say you made 15 grand this month. Don't say you made 500, right? So the profit is key, right? So when you're like, we're multi 8 figures in profit, and that matters because you have to have that in order to fund the business and to drive success to the business. So
At each stage, so 0 to 1 million, what's the number one skill people need to learn when scaling e-commerce product?
0 to 1 million, you have to learn marketing.
1 to 10.
You have to have great product and be better at marketing because now you're scaling the company and you have to make sure that the way that you are marketing aligns with a broader spectrum of people.
10 to 50.
10 to 50, you will have to find one major hook that can take your company to the stratosphere. Like $50 million, like you could get to $50 million with one good hook.
Hook. What do you mean?
Like there's one hook to your brand that draws in the person.
One angle for creatives?
Yeah, one angle of content that is directly aligned with your company could take you to 50 million.
50 to 250.
You're fucked. 50 to 250, you're going to have to hire heads of growth, chief revenue and growth officers, have full-time CFO. You can't have a fractional CFO. You have a full-time CFO. You have data scientists and analysts, and you have multiple media buyers, and you have director of influencers if you're doing a lot of marketing, and you have so many. You have a head of product. You have a VP of product. You have a CTO. You have a VPO. Like you have so many different. Dude, I'm going through it right now. It's horrible.
How many employees do you have right now?
We have 25, which is very slim.
Yeah, that is small. Jesus.
We have 25 internal, very high level. I would say B+ to A+ players, and then we have an agency that we work with, and we work with a few different agencies on certain things.
Creatives mostly.
No, creative is all in house. We have a
Distribution.
we have a technology company that helps. Our website is headless. So it's very fast. We have a full-time team that is working on split testing at all times. Everything about our website is how do we maximize conversion rate. So that is a full-time job. So we have an agency for that.
How do you scale your company to $1 billion in revenue?
Go international. I think we could do $1 billion international. I think if we just went international, the company could do $1 billion in revenue. I think to get from 1 billion to 2 billion, now you have to be opening retail locations in bulk, and you have to have a huge wholesale deal, like every Target in the country, or be it every Urban Outfitters, and have multiple places selling your product. That's to get into the billions. But if you could just find pockets online, D2C, and if you capture a couple 100 million in the United Kingdom and you capture a couple 100 million in Europe, like then you're making up that other 500.
And then international, what's the big challenge there? Is that the actual fulfillment and distribution, or is that the marketing, learning all the marketing of those localized areas?
I don't think either of them are necessarily hard. I think it's tedious. But I think that the hardest part would be having a reliable 3PL, like a reliable fulfillment center in those countries. Because people do drop ship from China, where they'll not drop ship, but they'll buy their product in bulk in China, transferred to the fulfillment center, and then they'll just ship to other countries from China. And it's like 5-day shipping. We have companies that we know that have 5-day shipping from China to the US. It's the same speed as me shipping in the US. It's a cheat code. People do that all the time. They use fulfillment centers to ship all over the world. But then, like, if you're in certain places that have high, like, tax duties and stuff like that, you want to start to sell your product in those countries at a physical 3PL there. Like in the UK, you'd have a 3PL. In Europe, in Germany, you have a 3PL. And then you would just start shipping to those countries from that 3PL there. But the whole goal is like, go test the waters, go run broad marketing on Meta, and go run to every country and see what picks up the most. The marketing is easy. You could just go to Facebook ad library and see what the oldest video running is of a company in the UK that's selling the same product as you and see what works. And then just go and twist it and make it about your marketing, but what they like over there. And then do that in every single country. Like the writing's on the wall, right? Like we know what to do. It's just a matter of like, can you actually go get the resources to do it?
What's the most amount of money you've spent on one creative?
I've spent $1 million on one creative.
Just like in paid ad spend,
Yep.
pushing it?
Yeah.
And what ROAS did that get?
5.
Wow. That's interesting.
And it was a street interview.
Off a street interview?
Yeah.
Interesting. What was the hook to that? Can't say.
Yeah, no, I can't say.
It's interesting. People need to think about the things that the people can't say on the podcast, you know? So what would you say is the biggest competitive edge you have right now for any of your e-com brands when it comes to the funnels of the traffic?
I think it's the army of affiliates. Like if you have an infrastructure where you don't need a creative agency to run your ads, like not to run your ads, but to have creators come in so that you can run ads with them and you could just have everybody in-house and train them exactly what works for your brand and only work with your brand. I think that that's the competitive edge because you have people that all they think about is money. So they'll work with 15 different companies and it dilutes not only like their page, but it also dilutes them on the algorithm. If you work, TikTok is tiered. You have 3 tiers of what industry you promote the most. So it could be fashion and accessories, could be pet supplies, could be personal care. If you are promoting so many other items that clothing is no longer in your top 3 or the first, it's going to hit less people on TikTok Shop because that's not your niche. It's only going to start to push your niche. So if you can continue to push one product and get that to number 1 and continue to drive sales that way, it's going to help you on the algorithm side where they're driving organic views to your videos as well. So I think like having,
So just pick one product. Don't do multiple.
I think
or one
the
niche.
best TikTok Shop creators and pages in the world are one product. The best. They are one product.
How much are you paying kids on TikTok?
We have an affiliate that was a waitress that was making around $20,000 a year. And she was struggling, like really struggling. And she was making UGC content, so user-generated content for my company for $25 a video. And she was just making content so that we can continue to post on the TikTok account. I was like, wow, this girl's really good. Let's bring her on and start doing paid ads. She's made over $150,000 in 1 month. She says that her parents have never made 6 figures. And now she's making over $100,000 a month and is changing her and her family's life through whitening her teeth and wearing sweatpants. Like that's it. We live in a day and age right now where this didn't exist. Like Jack, you and I know better than anybody, like, what even is this?
Yeah.
You know, it's just crazy to think about what this could become and what's happening right now and how you could be anybody in the world, go get a TikTok Shop account with a couple thousand followers and change your entire life forever. Quit your job, learn more about yourself, work on things that you really want to do, go do what you're passionate about. And that's what's happening. People are quitting. They were nurses. They were full-time students. Like people will quit and just go all in on content, not just with Comfort, but in general. Like they want to build their personal brand. And I don't think there's ever been a better time than right now.
Is it all short form or is there some long form stuff?
No long form. We do short form, and we repurpose it across all of our.
So you're not sponsoring podcasts, no YouTube channels, nothing like that?
Nothing. Our affiliates post YouTube videos and they get sales, and they go on YouTube Shorts and stuff like that as well, and they get views, and they have their own link, and then that's what a lot of the organic, like, external affiliates do.
So what is the moat that you have around the affiliates? Do you think you could say that the root cause of having a lot of affiliates is having a good product that makes people a lot of money when they promote it. But what else is it? Like, how do you have so many affiliates, so many creators that are in your ecosystem? Like, do you have a funnel that funnels them in?
It's me. I am the secret sauce, and it's you, of why you're building an incredible podcast. It's us. So for Comfort, it was like, we had the product and we had the fit in the market and we had the marketing, but building a relationship with every person that works with my company internally was the key, because this is the business life. It's up and down. It's a roller coaster. But if you can allow them, because even when there's been changes in the company, when they would like get discouraged or they would get in their head about something, like, I'm there every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on a Zoom call waiting to explain to them how we're at the helm and how we're grinding and how we're working through problems and how we're going to solve these things. And they know when the products are out of stock, what's in stock, what our best selling product is, what our best design is, what's coming out. Every single thing about my business, they know, like me. So they're not just an affiliate that works with a company. They're literally a part of my business. And I think that's what makes us so different is, yeah, we could keep onboarding creators, but like the churn will be crazy. But if you just build a relationship with them and they understand that, like, you're not just an asset to them or a product, but you're a person, they're going to stay a lot longer with you, and they're going to listen to your advice and work harder.
A lot of people have complaints about working with influencers, that they're lazy, they don't follow ad creatives, they're not very business savvy. Like, how have you been able to either A, find creators that post consistently for your product and convert, or B, convince creators that it's worth their time? You might have just answered it, but has there been any?
I think I bring out this side of them that maybe they haven't discovered yet, or maybe a side that they haven't wanted to really understand yet, which is like, how fucking bad do you want it? And I think that is the question that you have to ask everybody is, what is your goal here? Okay, my goal is this. I have them write down their goals every month, what they want to do. Some of them text me their life goals, like what they want to do in the next 5 years. I want to be married. I want to do this. Like, they text me a full list of like what they're building in their life, and it's giving them structure. And people have it, but they don't know, like, maybe they're missing a step. Maybe they don't know to write it down. They think it and then they forget about it, or it only comes up when something bad happens. Write down your goals. Tell me them if you want, but if you don't want to share them with me, that's fine, but write them down. And stick to your plan and work hard. And I always end my calls by saying, if you're not where you want to be, book a one-on-one call with me and I'll break down your videos with you on why they're not performing the way you want. And then I'll get on a call with every one of them and I'll explain to them exactly why their creative is not working the way that they need. And then what happens? You build the culture more in the community. You make them better. They make more money. They work harder. So you kind of, again, it's this flywheel of like, build a relationship first. Everything else comes second. And if you can explain to people your story, like, I went through some shit when I was a kid. I did not have the easiest time getting to where I am today. It's been the craziest journey ever. I could spend 5 hours talking to you about my journey and what I went through to get here. But if I explain that to them and I tell them that I'm human, because they sometimes don't look at me like I'm human. They are like, oh, he's just the owner of this brand and it's a big brand. It's like, no, dude, I'm a human. And look at what I've been through. And you're probably going through some of the similar things that I went through, or maybe we're going through the same thing, but how do we get through it together? And like, you have to just relate to them so much. It's relatability. It's the same thing in the content. Like, when they make content, their relatability to the consumer is what is the same thing as when I'm relating to them. It's all relatability throughout the entire process.
It's interesting. It's really a people business at the end of the day. Would you say your company's valued at $1 billion?
Not yet.
No? Multi-hundreds?
Yes, but not $1 billion.
Do you think you're one of the few people that has 100% equity in a multi what is that, 9, 10 figure company?
Yeah, I would say like there's less than 10% of people that have that at that level. Because usually you take on capital, or you have investors, or you have co-founders and partners and things of that nature. Like if you're 100% in and you don't have to take on capital, it's like, it's a pretty rare story.
Have you not considered giving any creator some percentage of equity, or is it just too valuable at this point?
I just don't think it makes sense. Like, what are you going to do for equity? And is the money right now more important than the money in maybe a couple of years? You know, and a lot of these people need money right now. So I just don't think that there has ever been a scenario where it makes sense. I've thought about it for Nude, because I have a partner in Nude. That is not 100% my company. I don't have the time anymore. So I need somebody who is a great operator to run the business. Same thing with what Luke and I were discussing with Ben. Ben is an incredible operator, and he has a great infrastructure around him that could be able to manage that business at scale. So that business does 100 million its first year guaranteed. That business does over $500 million year 2 guaranteed. That company, to have that infrastructure and build that team that quickly, you need the best in the world.
In terms of TikTok Shop, I'm sure you hate getting asked this question by just other e-com guys, but what if TikTok gets banned? Where are other people looking? Is Instagram Shop going to come back? Do you have any information about that? Have you seen any success on any other mediums or channels?
No, and it's so funny. Like, if you hear that people have like an in and they know what's going on TikTok, they're lying to your face. I am friends with Bob and David, who are the global head of TikTok Shops and the global head of e-commerce, and they don't even know what's going on. So it's like if someone says to you like, yeah, I know, you know what's going on. No, you're lying. No one knows.
It's so true. Yeah, I had a TikTok rep. I don't know if I could say that, but I said, is TikTok getting banned? She's like, Jack, I have no idea. And like, there's only like a few TikTok reps, you know. She's like, I genuinely have no idea.
They don't know. None of them know, because they don't. It's the government at the end of the day. Like, they don't have. They just keep pushing this thing out. When TikTok went out for 14 hours, Comfort did not drop in revenue. Being the #1 TikTok shop in the world, we did not drop revenue, because where are all those people going to go? Right to Meta, right to Instagram. And guess what? Our ads are there waiting with unlimited budgets and bid caps, and we're ready to go. So no budget, no money dropped at all, no revenue dropped at all. And I think that if it goes away long term, something else will come out. Someone else will emulate the TikTok shop idea. Meta there was rumblings of Meta doing it. Meta was supposedly going to do it if TikTok didn't come back. Snapchat, I just think Snapchat is they're so behind that I just don't think they could do it. I just think they shouldn't even try. Their attribution model is horrible. They'll say that you have a 40 ROAS. They'll say that your company is going to be $1 trillion company based off of their metrics. Yeah, you have to get a third-party data tool like an attribution tool like Northbeam. If you're starting out, get Triple Whale. But like, yeah, Meta would do it next. Meta would definitely do it next.
For the beginners, what is media buying, and what's the name of your media buyer? I'm joking. What is media buying, and what's your secret to running ads on social media?
So media buying is really just spending money on the ads and learning ways that are unique to your company on how to spend money to acquire customers at the cheapest rate. Like, if you're spending money as a media buyer, you better know strategy on how to scale with spend more money, and continue to earn revenue. Because as you scale, your ROAS should drop. But sometimes, if you know how to do it the right way, it doesn't happen that way. Sometimes it stays, and you can go from 100 to 200,000 a day, and you may even see a couple upticks in ROAS. So there's ways to scale ads, and my media buyers would not like for me to get into the specifics of how we run ads, but I could tell you one thing that I do that is really, and I could say this because I started it with somebody, and I think it's one of the best ways to run ads. So we surf scale ads. So we start our budgets at a certain dollar amount each day, call it $75. If the video gets 3 sales at a certain ROAS or a certain CPA, we scale the video more. So we'll put $500 behind it. And then if it gets more sales and has the same CPA or lower, we'll go and we'll do $1,000. And sometimes we'll start with $75 a day up to $5,000 a day. And we'll put so much money behind one creative. And we'll do that across hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ads. And what you're looking is that daily profitability. One ad may hit on Tuesday, on Wednesday, it just is shit. TikTok is very inconsistent with their winners.
So the difference you're saying here is that you look at daily ad spend as opposed to monthly ad spend.
Yeah, you could look at daily ad spend and no. We don't look at.
Or is it the methodology in which you're scaling up, like the exact numbers, like 75 to 300? Like, what's the thing you're teaching here that other people?
So you have parameters that you set for your company. If you start with, let's just say you have 10 ads, right, and you're doing $100 a day on those ads, that's $1,000, right? But now let's just say you have 100 ads at $100 a day. That's $10,000. You don't want to blow your account trying to spend money if it's all going to be unprofitable or most of it's unprofitable. So start at a lower daily budget, look at what is winning and making you money, and then scale that up. Especially in the beginning, like you have to look for that because then it goes to the other thing where you find the creative that works, you find the hook that worked, you find the middle of content, the call to action, and then you document that. And then you have the next batch of creative duplicate out what that style of creative was. And now your whole ad account is winning ads, right? So then you win. So that's kind of the way that we look at it. There's no like one way to like win ads. There's no one way to scale ads and be successful. There's so many different ways. There's so many different methods. We met a guy the other day who makes 30 fucking Facebook pages and scales ads on 30 different ad accounts. Like there's so many ways. What works for you, go test it out and try it. But it always is going to fall back on the marketing.
How important is a good media buyer?
Very important.
Like, can it make the difference of like 10x or is it more like 2, 3x?
No, it could be 10x. Because if you don't understand what your media buyer is doing, you could completely ruin your company. Because they may not be doing it the right way. And then you're not knowledgeable enough to go check and figure out what they're fucking up. And then now you're like, why is my company not making money? Why are we unprofitable? Why are these ads not working? And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, we're running this horrible. We have one campaign for every single ad group. And we have too many, like there's a lot of risk too. Like there was one media buyer we worked with that like we had one campaign for everything. And if something went wrong, all of our ads stopped spending. So there's a lot that like a seasoned veteran would know not to do, where a new media buyer that like has a great product behind them and they think they're the reason why the ads are winning, but it's really just the company's virality and the product. It's like they could mess up everything.
Are media buyers like, is that a job title? Like, how do you become a media buyer?
You start somewhere.
Like, what's the background of the people that you're hiring? Like, they had their own e-com companies and they're working on yours, which is bigger?
They scaled. They were a boutique agency and they were working with bigger brands, not as big as us, but one of them has worked with brands bigger than us. And they worked with a whole plethora of different companies. And they just had a lot of understanding of how the platforms worked and how to look at data and how to understand attribution. And, really like knowing where like your North Star is, like the one truth of the company and like the attribution across all channels. Like that's hard to do. You need to be good to understand that. Like we don't look in Meta to understand what Meta's doing. We look at Northbeam because Northbeam is going to tell us in a more like a more granular fashion, what is that spend actually attaining? Like, is it causing a halo effect on TikTok? What is the incremental growth that you're getting on other channels from Meta? You can't learn that on Meta. You have to have another channel that you look for. But I wouldn't even know what incremental growth is if I didn't meet these guys, because I don't even know what that word means. And that's the truth, right? Like you can't be good at everything.
Where's your spin going? Is it like what % of this is organic? What % is TikTok shop? What % is paying influencers, brand deals, Facebook ads, etc.? You had to give an idea. Would you say it's mostly Facebook ads?
Yeah, Meta's the most. TikTok is second. Snapchat is third. Google is third, Snapchat is fourth, and then we product seed. So I'll kind of get into that. I think that's really important. So we have the paid side down, and then you have product seeding, where you can use an app called Yuka AI, EUKA.ai, and you can give it the parameters of a bot of what people you want to send a target collaboration to on TikTok Shop. Then it's going to sync with TikTok, and it's going to message those people, and then they're going to request samples, and those sample requests are going to come up in your TikTok Seller Center dashboard, and then you can approve them based off of their GMV, how much money they've earned in the last 30 days for brands, and then their estimated post rate. So if they just like take free samples and don't post product, good luck. Like, I don't even care if you have 500K GMV, I'm not sending you anything. Because I don't like that, it's bad business. But if you have like over an 80% post rate and you're doing over $40,000 in GMV a month, I'm sending you products. And I'm doing that to thousands of people per month on TikTok that are all going to post because their estimated post rate is so high. And then I have thousands of people posting on seeding. And then I have thousands of pieces of content going up on every single day for paid ads. And then you have the rest of the affiliates that are just posting.
Would you sell your company?
Yeah. Is this on podcast right now? Oh.
Never.
No. No, I'd be open to the idea. We may made a point of bringing on a partner or something like that. You know, when you want to scale into bigger numbers, you definitely may need more expertise. I don't drink my own Kool-Aid. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I don't know. I don't know certain things about the business that I want to learn. I don't know wholesale. I don't know international expansion. I just don't know them. One of my good friends, Simon Beard, is the founder of Culture Kings. He had a great exit. He exited for like over $600 million. And he's like the king of retail. So like just people like that, like their expertise is so great, and there's people that maybe you just want to collab with and do work with.
You got me thinking now. Yeah, dude, I just had this 18-year-old on. He does, what is it, 25 million a year in revenue with an AI app. And it's like something disgusting, like percent profit. And
Oh my
he's like, he wants to sell it. He started it 1 year ago, and he wants to sell it for like, it's a calorie tracker. Have you heard of Cali-Eye?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had that kid, 18 years old, founder.
What a fucking genius.
He's great.
What a fucking genius, dude. 18. Well, you know, you at 18 were dialed too, bro. Me at 18, I was like, people probably thought there was something wrong with me. Like, you at 18, dude, you were dialed too. But like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they just keep getting younger, bro.
Like developing app. Yeah, because this is their like generation now.
Yeah.
It's like everyone in school is going to be like working on things, or I feel like the whole college route is dying out. It really is. Because everyone
I think it's coming back.
Do you?
A little bit, because the 18-year-olds I talk to, they're like, oh, like they're so successful that they're like, we need to go to Harvard so we can have a VC fund and like go that whole route.
Dude, that's so niche though. Like, think about the masses. Like, they don't want to go. They don't want to go to school anymore. You see too many people making money online. Why would you go to college? If you want to go be a doctor or a lawyer and those jobs that everyone says, it sounds so cliche. Like, then like you have to go. I would want my lawyer to go to school and pass the bar and understand law. I would want my doctor that's doing open heart surgery to really like go to school. But a lot of these times, these guys don't even get the practice they want. Like, it's very backwards. A lot of this is backwards. I think we should see a shift soon in the way that, I mean, even like how we were taught when we were in school. It's like they don't teach you financial literacy. Like, you don't understand anything. I have content creators that are in their 20s that are like, wait, I have to pay taxes on this money?
That was every TikTok creator in 2021.
And I'm
They're like, oh shit.
I'm like, yeah, you do. Like, and some of them make a lot of money. I'm like, you're going to pay 30, 40% on this. And they're like, really? Like, now what? We should teach that in school. You should learn that very young.
Hudson, how did you get into e-commerce originally?
That's a great question. I saw a couple companies on Instagram that had a product that I searched on Alibaba that were like super cheap to make, and I saw what they were selling the product for. And I was like, wow, that's a crazy markup. I could only imagine how much money they're earning. And then I met a dentist who told me that this is like when the Kardashians were kind of like getting like peaking, right? I wouldn't, Kim's still freaking peaking, but they were all like coming up and everyone was like conscious of their teeth and their health. And the Kardashians were doing some ads already for teeth whitening companies. And we were like, wait a minute, this could be something. And then I picked teeth whitening because I didn't like, honestly, I don't know. I just didn't think of anything else. I was like, okay, teeth whitening.
That was your first company?
Dude, that was my
Purely White?
Purely White was my first company. Okay, not my first. I had another company called Paradigm Luxuries, which was a bracelet company that I sold in school. When I was a junior in school, I sold bracelets to my friends, and I think I broke even. That was it. That was my first company.
So how old were you when you launched Purely White?
19. I'm 28.
Damn, bro. You were 19 when you launched Purely White.
I was
That's
19,
crazy.
and it sucked for like ever.
How long were you unprofitable on that company?
4.5 years.
Why did you think you could make it? How are you living?
I went back to selling cars. I was the #1 car salesman in the country for Hyundai when I was 19.
How much money does the #1 car salesman in the country make?
I made $250,000 my first year. And this is just for Hyundai. There's other car dealerships and people that make more money. I had the most cars sold for Hyundai when I was 19, and then I became a manager when I was 20, and then I moved to LA for a year, and I started an Airbnb business where I had like maybe 10 different apartments, and we were just doing arbitrage and having them stay in the apartments. We were renting the apartments and then renting it out to the people Airbnb-ing. And we did that it was me and my ex-girlfriend. We did that for a very long time, for about a year and a half. And then I moved back to New York and I got rid of that company, and because we broke up and it was a whole nightmare and I was young and stupid. And then I went back to selling cars. I had Purely White this whole time. I was trying to make Purely White work. I was trying to find a way to run ads, and I had no idea about anything. And it was the slowest growth ever. And then
So you just have like in your house a lot of product just sitting there?
I had product sitting there, and then I had to order new product when it expired, with the money that I was earning from the car dealership.
How long does it take for those to expire, the syringes?
Every 12 months. Like, I mean, some of them are
Okay.
24 months, but like every 12 months, I was like, I'm not selling this to anybody, like even if it's unopened. So we would just every 12 months change it out. And then the Snapchat, when I was 24, I became a millionaire. So that was the year that we had the growth. So it was 24, about 4.5 years ago, and that was when you and I talked. It was that year.
24 when you became a millionaire. And then that's like liquid net worth, you mean? Or like, how do you?
I had $1 million liquid when I was 24.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was I thought I made it moment. And then I found out that $1 million was not what I thought $1 million was. Which people would probably say, how could you say that? $1 million? It's just not as much as it used to be a lot. It's just not anymore. It's not as much as it used to be. It's very sad. But yes, that was when I started making real money, when I was 24.
And how much of the money were you keeping from Purely White, like, or spending yourself? Like, are you pretty frugal, or are you pretty like in between on this? What would you say?
I spend money on dinners, and then I got a place in Miami, which was like my biggest purchase, and that was pretty stressful. Like, I was like, am I making the right decision here? Because Comfort was starting to make some money, but we didn't know what the real potential was yet. And I don't touch any money from Comfort, actually. Like, I don't pay myself from Comfort. I pay myself from Purely White only. So, and consulting, which I just reinvest into like Purely White, because the company's profitable, but we're coming out with so many more products that I just want to like fuel the company so that when we launch in Target, it's a real win. But yeah, that was it was stressful as fuck when you are making money, but you don't know, like, could it stop? It's a very weird feeling. That kind of brings me to the whole mindset thing of like a lot of people that are dealing with that now. That's the one thing I get from all my content creators is they say, like, I'm making money now, but like, what if I lose it all? And I'm like, you can't live your life that way. You can't think when you finally make it, when you're going to lose all of it. How does that breed growth? You know? And we all go through it. We've all been in that position where we're like, everything's good. And we're like, all right, what's going on?
When did you sell your first car?
When did I sell at the dealership? When I was 19, and it saved my life. The car dealership saved my life. I was depressed. I didn't go to college. I graduated in night school. So I dropped out when I was in 11th grade. I re-enrolled and was able, because I dropped out like over half, like it was already halfway through the year. I had good enough grades. They put me into 12th grade. I finished in night school. And then when I decided I wasn't going to go to college, I had like this really bad depression. And my mom happened to sell a house to a guy that was the GM of Hyundai. And he brought me in and we started working together, and he was harder on me than everybody else. And I was like, we're supposed to be like friends. Like, you know, my mom. He was the opposite. He was like the most tough love guy. One of the only men that ever intimidated me. Like, I was afraid to like go into his office and talk to him. And he changed my life. He gave me an opportunity. He trained me. He made me great. And he made me like tough. Like, my mental toughness was so different. I had purpose. I had passion. I was excited to go to work. Until one day I wasn't. And that was when I knew that I had to move on. I was so good at what I was doing there. I was like, what if I could put all that time and energy into myself? How great could I be if I did that? And then I struggled. Purely White was making no money. I went and did arbitrage for Airbnb. I went back to the car business because I had a really bad breakup and I didn't kind of know what to do. I went back to what I knew, which was like selling cars. And then at that time, I was so mentally out of the car business that I wasn't even really selling any cars. Every day that I would go into work, I was trying to build my website and try to understand e-com enough to make it work. And that was the true like story behind, like, from the moment I started to the moment Purely White started making money. Like, one day I left work. Aiden Williams, you know him?
Blonde guy.
Yes. That was the guy. He was the one that changed everything. He doesn't even know that. Fuck, I gotta like call him. He posted for me on Snapchat, and it made us like about $4,000 that day. And I'll never forget. I was like, I thought like something broke. I was like, how? It's like another Shopify getting the sales and somehow we're getting them. Like, how are we getting sales? Like, nothing happened. And I forgot that he had posted that story on Snapchat.
He has nice teeth.
Yep, he has great teeth.
Same with Corey.
Yep, they both have great teeth. Dude, Corey is like a genetic freak.
3 Corey pop up on the screen. That man is jacked. And
that
can
guy
backflip and is a talented video editor.
And has been jacked since he's been like 12. Like, it doesn't even make sense. But yeah, so Aiden Williams was the guy.
Yeah. Do you remember his username?
No.
Can't remember it.
I thought it was Aiden.Williams, but
I think that sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta hit him up. But that was how it started.
Why'd you drop out of high school?
I had a rough relationship with my family at a point, and I hated school, so I was part to blame. I hated school, and my teachers were, some of my teachers were very harsh, and they were telling me I was going to amount to nothing, and telling me that I was like worthless almost. It was very horrible to hear that from people that you look up to, right? And I had a couple of teachers that just gave me, it was like everything combined in total. And then I ended up joining a network marketing company called Vima. You ever know the energy drinks Verve? It was like a orange energy drink that it ended up being a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, it sounds like an MLM.
Well, like Amway is like an MLM, and like they own the Orlando Magic. Like, it's weird. Like, some of them are not, and some of them are, and they're very similar. But this one ended up somehow being a pyramid scheme. But I dropped out of high school and I went and did an MLM, and I learned about the law of attraction, and that actually saved my life. The law of attraction and the car business were two of the biggest, like the most pivotal moments in my life that changed everything and altered everything forever.
But who got you into the MLM?
Some random guy DM'd me and said that I should join his network marketing company. And we weren't friends on Instagram, nothing. And he said we had a mutual friend, and he invited me to this guy's house to hear what they had to say. And it was like in this guy's, in this guy's mom's house. And the guy who was holding the event ended up becoming one of my best friends. And he brought me, we actually traveled the world when I dropped out, and like went to like Florida and went like to Louisiana, and like literally just went on road trips, like holding meetings about this company.
Is this where you learned sales
Yes.
originally?
Yes. Yes. Taught me a lot about myself. Just taught me a lot about belief. And if you can believe enough in yourself, you can do anything. Because you're selling a vision, And I was 16, so I was a kid. I was young. I was so young. I didn't know anything. But I like held on to that like it was law. And I was like, this will change my life if I believe it will.
How do you utilize the law of attraction? Like what frameworks, what's your interpretation of it? Because we talked about Hormozi, so it means you obviously consume a bit of his content, and he's someone that says confidence comes from competence. Raw action is the fix of everything. So it kind of is the antithesis of this manifestation stuff. And I myself am at this weird phase where I'm like, yeah, but life seems a little magical in some ways. And it seems a little bit like if you think about stuff, it does happen. But I'm also like, if I point everything backwards, it's usually action. So what's your perspective on
No,
this?
it's law of attraction. It's vibration. Thoughts become things. Every single thing that we are doing right now, everything in this room was a thought. And someone took that thought and they made it reality. So the way that you think and the way that I think of things as if they have already happened. So I have the Ferrari, I have the Lamborghini, I have the house, I have the $1 billion business, I have the life of my dreams, I have the watch of my dreams, I have the best relationship with my family. Even if time hasn't caught up yet, I have all of that. And I believe it, and I operate at the frequency that I have those things. And I believe it so much that it's my truth, and no one can tell me otherwise. And when you're starting a business and when you're trying to do something that everyone says you're crazy for, and you have to be a little delusional and you have to be a little bit crazy, because sometimes the people that are closest to you in your life are going to tell you that it's not going to work. And they're going to tell you that you're crazy, or that you have a great job in the car business. Why would you quit? And they don't understand you, but they think that they do. But no one does but you. And when you can have such control over your mindset, you can accomplish anything in the world. That's a fucking clip. Sorry.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Sorry, we have to cut out the thing about my high school dropout. I can't do that to my family.
That's fair.
My fucking mom would kill me. I'm so close to my mom now, but I was like, my mom and I were like not in a good place. So when people bring up like my homeless thing, like I try to be vague about it, because like it's true and like people should know that, but like my mom would fucking, I'm so close with her now,
Yeah, that's always been a tough one for me, because it's like
I never want her to be like,
you hear people talk shit about their family that are like big and famous, and I'm like, wouldn't it be the more noble thing for you to take accountability of the situation and fix it, and not?
that's why I was
embarrass
kind of
your
like,
parents in that
I hated
situation?
school too. Like I
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
do that, but like, we'll cut the whole thing on that. Sorry.
No. I have the same perspective on it. It's like people who don't have relationships with their parents, I likely think that you can fix it. You know?
Could. I did. It's not for a podcast clip, but I knocked on my dad's door after not speaking to him for 5 years. And he answered the door and he looked like he saw a ghost. And I was like, I want to be back in your life. Like I want to be in each other's life. And he like looked at me and he's like, I'll think about it. And it crushed me. But then one day I called him and I was like, I need help with this real estate deal. And for whatever reason, that altered the father-son thing and went from like an advice perspective. And out of nowhere, like our relationship was built. Now he's like one of my best friends. I didn't talk to him for 5 fucking years. So you can fix it. It's us though. Like if you're successful and you're making money and you're doing well, like go fix your shit. Like don't carry that fucking baggage all over the place.
What's one sentence that at the time felt like it broke you?
Man, fuck, that's so hard. I think Hormozi has one that that broke me, but I can't think about it right now. But it changed the way that I thought about a lot of things. I'm trying to pull it out. Fuck. Why am I blanking?
Do you know what it's generally about? Because I might know it.
You definitely know it. It was a good one. It was about like
Don't be a entrepreneur, be an entrepreneur.
no. It was deep. It was like, I could tell you one. I think that the quote, if you do what they say and do what they do, you will get what they have every single time. And that to me made me think a lot about who I was listening to. And that also goes into another quote that was, watch who you listen to. If they don't have what you want, don't listen to them. And that was hard, because that's probably the best advice I could give to people now that are looking to be great, is watch who you take advice from. If your Uncle Joe is, works at a pizzeria, like if he wants to teach you how to make pizza, that's great. But if he wants to teach you like how to go be a fucking astronaut, don't listen to him. He doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm being very over exaggerating on that. But the point is like, how can you teach me business? How can you teach me to be a millionaire? How can you teach me where to invest my money in stocks if you've never done it?
Yeah.
Stop trying to, because people they'll project insecurity onto you all the time. Like it's all they do is they project, and they disguise themselves as people that are trying to help you. But they're not. They're just projecting their insecurities because they're like, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. I fucking can. I can do anything I want. I've never walked in a room and was like, well, that man is better than me. That man can do more than I can do. He's a better man than I am. I've never felt that way. People walk around all the time and they feel useless and worthless and they feel like they're not enough. And I felt that way before. I felt like I'm not enough. But like, dude, suck it the fuck up and figure it out. At a point, you have to just say, I'm this person. When I was 16, and I said this one other time, I signed a contract with myself. Kobe Bryant talks about it. He said, I signed a contract with myself. I did that. I signed a contract with myself that no matter what happened in my life, I would never give up. No matter what is behind those doors, open them, bring it on. I don't fucking care. I will go and deal with anything that you give me because I know the life that I'm meant to live. And it's very hard because sometimes it's like you're at this very low point and you think that like, how could it even get any worse? And all of a sudden it skyrockets up. You need to go through those. And you ever see that like, it's not a meme, it's like a visual on Instagram of the guy who's like breaking with the pickaxe to get to the gold.
There's diamonds or something.
And the diamonds, and he turns around right before he gets there. It's like,
this is the point where most people quit.
that was it. That was Hormozi's quote. Yeah. If everybody, yeah, that's the quote. The
Yeah,
quote.
that's a good one. If most people would quit at this point, then if you quit now, then
Yeah,
just
like
quit.
no, it's like when you think about quitting, you say, this is where everyone else did.
Yeah.
Like, just be so, like, I think about Purely White. Think about what the fuck was wrong with me. Like
Yeah.
5 years, like, dude, it's just not working.
Like, bro, you're so young, and that's an e-com brand, you know? Like, you were probably listening to people who, we scaled this 30 days, 7 days, like
And then
1
people
year.
hear, dude, and then people hear Comfort and they're like, how did you, Comfort is the fastest growing e-com brand of all time. That's a true fact. We are the fastest growing e-commerce brand ever. Purely White, I would say, is probably one of the slowest growing e-commerce brands ever. So it's like, you look at Comfort as like the win. No, dude, there's like 5 years of fuckery that like we had no idea what was going on. That's the truth.
Yeah.
You don't want to believe that because you don't want to like, because a lot of people then deflect. They're like, well, you just made it. You just did this. You just did that. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, I read Instagram comments. That's why I hate, like, that's why you have to have tough skin to have a personal brand because people say shit all the time. And for me, it's like, it's going to happen either way, no matter what. So like, I might as well just be like, all right, if you don't like me, like, I'm going to give you the truth. I'm never going to lie to you. I'm never going to go on a podcast and lie to people and tell them fake things. Like, I'm going to be honest. And if you don't like the honesty, I can't help you. But the honesty is like, yeah, you have to be a little delusional. You have to believe your own shit and you have to believe in yourself and you can't walk around and be like, well, I just don't have it or I'm just not good enough. Like, dude, you tell yourself that you're going to become that. Law of attraction. I'm the best. I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm the best. I don't care what anyone else says. I believe I am the best. No one else is better than me. I'm the best in the world at this shit. If you don't believe it, cool. I don't care. How do you think UFC fighters get to be champions? You think they're like, well, that guy's better than me, but I'm going to go fight him. No, dude, you walk in there like, I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet, and I'm going to win. I have friends that are in the UFC. I have a friend that's fighting tonight, his retirement fight, Anthony Smith. And I talk to him about it all the time, mindset. He's lost like 20 times. He's won 40 fights. He fought John Jones. He's been in the UFC forever. And I talked to him about mindset. And he's like, dude, he's like, I believe still to this day that I'm the best. No matter every time I lose and I get back up and I walk out of the ring, I believe I'm the best. Like, he's fighting, like physically getting injured and fighting for the better of his family to give them a great life. He has beautiful daughters and an amazing wife. Like, guy's getting in the ring and getting fucking beat up to make money, to put food on the table. We're building brands. We're not getting injured. Go give yourself a little, like go look at the other people and what they're doing, and then look in the mirror and be like, yo, can I like believe in myself enough? It's like, go get the thing that I want the most. Because my thing is not money. My thing is like my family and my future family. That's my why. Your why has to be so strong, stronger than money. Because money, how many fucking really successful, happy people have committed suicide? How many people have like just become miserable and they're just not happy with their life, and they have all the money in the world and they just sit there, but they have no one to share it with? Think about all the people that like would kill to have an opportunity to make money. And then when you finally get there, it's like, what is it for? It's for your family, dude. It's to give to my two younger brothers. I want to change their life. You know, I want to give them an opportunity to go build a business of their own. I want to go teach them life. If we live life one time, why would you ever handicap yourself? Ever.
It's really interesting what you said about the law of attraction there, because from a fighter's perspective, if you lost a fight, that is evidence that you can lose fights.
Yep.
If you're thinking from the framework of competence builds confidence, but if you're thinking from the framework of be confident first, then any loss that happens to you doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You learn,
just feedback.
Because you learn from that loss. Every L is a lesson, right? Like that they say that all the time. Like, it is true. Do you look at it as a loss or do you look at it as a lesson? I love losing because I'm really winning. A loss is a win for me in my book. If I fuck something up, I'm like, great. Now I know that I'm not doing it well enough, so like my results aren't peaked. If I say I'm doing everything right at all times and I'm the best at everything, like I still believe I'm the best, but I make mistakes all the time, and so does my team. And we all believe we're the best. My team believes, my CFO believes he's the best CFO in the world. And I need him to believe that because he holds a heavy burden of the brand. So, but he can make a mistake. And if he goes and does a consulting call with one of my friends' companies and he learns a new thing, good, makes him better.
If you know you're losing and you know why you're losing, you're winning.
Correct.
It's if you don't know, that's when you're actually losing.
Or if you don't want to look at it, you want to hide it and mask it and not really believe that you're losing or make an excuse for why you're losing.
Because if you know why, then it becomes pretty hard to lose at a certain point, you know? Like, and that's why you said you're excited to lose, because it's like, oh, I understand it now.
Yep.
It's the realization of why we're losing rather than you're actually losing on a new thing. So for context, Google SEO, that used to be the king of all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, how you ranked on Google was how well your shit sold. TikTok last year became a more searched on platform than Google.
Yes.
How important is SEO on TikTok?
It's important because if people are typing in hoodie and you're the first company that pops up and they're searching for a hoodie and they buy your product, the organic sales go through the roof. And it's great for the company because you're ranked first. So Comfort is the only clothing brand in the world that has over 1 million units sold on TikTok Shop. Imagine being a consumer, going and seeing a company that you don't really know that well, but they have hoodies for sale and you're looking for a hoodie. And you see that they have a 4.7 rating with over 1 million products sold and hundreds of thousands of videos made about their company. You trust it, right? Like, you would trust that. Now look at the real estate play. It's like Amazon in 96. You think about it. Look at Amazon when they first started out, what they were selling, books, and then they moved on to new things and new things and new things. TikTok Shop is the same play. They're so beta. Like they're going to have so many more features and more people are going to adapt and adopt methods to sell on TikTok shops. But imagine if Nike comes on and now you're typing in Nike hoodie, but hoodie is there. And then comfort pops up because you want a hoodie. Do you know that two of the biggest brands that we take from consumers from are Nike and Skims? And you wouldn't know. Nike, like why Nike? But that's what it is. So imagine if you have bigger brands now on those platforms and you have a company that's selling a lot and those people are typing in those bigger companies' names, but you have more sold than them, all of a sudden you're ranking higher and you win.
What's one hire that changed your business?
My head of growth, who is now my chief of revenue and growth. She could be CEO of my company. She's unbelievable. Her name is Jillian. She worked at Masterclass and PayPal. She's worked at way bigger brands in Comfort. And we've had headhunters go in and I've interviewed some of the top employees at some of the biggest brands in the world, and they work at Comfort now. And she's one of the best. She runs my company. She's the reason why I could do this podcast and not stress that my company is something's going wrong or an employee is making a mistake or we're not doing something the right way. She is like the glue.
What's the difference between a head of growth and a COO?
A COO, my COO does all of the inventory for my company. So the chief operating officer is all operations, right? My chief
Growth overseas COO?
No. So COO is a direct report to me. Jillian is also a direct report to me. Until she becomes CEO, then the COO would report to her. But Jillian is the people that report to her is the head of growth, the media buyers, the director of influencers, the social media managers, the head of social.
So with e-com, the growth side is more important than the operations side.
No, I wouldn't say that. Operations is so fucking important. Dude, I wouldn't say one is more important than the other. If I have great creative but no inventory, I lose. If I have a lot of inventory but my creative sucks, I'll never sell it. You need to have a perfect blend. But having like I have an inventory manager and a COO. They work together. They handle all my inventory. They work with the technology companies to do the pre-order and the dynamic price testing and all those things, which are very important for CRO. They correlate directly. But then the chief of revenue and growth and the head of growth, and the head of growth is very analytical. She's looking through with a fine-tooth comb all the data in the company, right? The data scientist is also under the Jillian. So now you have the data scientist and the head of growth working together with the media buyers, because the media buyers are maybe missing things. So you have everybody kind of watching each other's work and they're all doing certain things and then they're all reporting to Jillian. But you need to find someone good and you need to find someone that's an A player. And I think the difference between a B player and an A player is the A player is going to do it regardless and implement new strategy to the business because they believe that's what's best. And if it fucks up, they'll own it. It doesn't take me to go tell them to do something that I believe would do better than them telling me that this is going to do better and they trust their gut. They're like little entrepreneurs. Like they're entrepreneurs. They're not employees at that point. The A players are like, they're legit entrepreneurs.
They innovate.
They're innovators to the fullest. And that's the difference. And that's what you need when you're scaling rapidly. You need someone that can innovate with you and be another perspective for you. Because we may be geniuses in our own way, but they're geniuses in another way. And if you combine the two, you hit a home run.
Who's the most impressive person you've ever met?
I fucking saw this clip on your Instagram and I watched it in advance and I still don't know. Okay, let me see.
That's good marketing, guys.
I want to say my mother, and I'll tell you why. The truth why. Single mother, 3 kids, GED, late 30s, on child support, becomes the #1 realtor in New York State and remarries, and my stepfather's the CEO of Douglas Elliman, which is the biggest real estate brokerage in New York, and he runs the Hamptons, right? So you have that growth together. They started with nothing. She literally had 3 kids running around. So you have that woman who knows nothing about working in that industry, in that job, let alone having 3 kids. and then goes and makes it and then continues to win. So I know that feeling now. Like I know the feeling of like making 100 million and then having to go do it again. Cool, you made 100 million. Great. That's a huge accomplishment. Do it again now. She does it every fucking year, year over year. Number one, number one, number one, number one. How do you do that? You know how hard that is? Like that is so impressive. Like you just, and you innovate and you find new ways and markets change. Markets change, the economy changes, people change, the way that percentages and commissions change. And then you're still number one across the board, no matter what. Like that to me is so impressive that that's part of the reason why I am the way that I am. Because I've watched her deal with adversity and be able to be great every fucking day with no days off, even when she's sick. That to me is like, wow, what can I do? 24 years younger and with a world of technology that she wasn't accustomed to and didn't even have when she was a kid. Now I get to have all of that. I have all these tools at my fingertips, but you were able to do and build what you built with a GED and 3 kids and almost being 40 years old. Like that to me is unbelievable. So I would say her.
I hate to ask this, but I've never had someone with such an impressive, like with a parent with such an impressive resume, to be honest. Last person was Michael Franzese, who's from the same part of town that you are. Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do know.
His father was a big mobster, but...
yes, I've seen clips of him.
Yeah, but...
yes.
What's one thing your mother taught you then?
She taught me to listen and not always speak. I would speak out of insecurity. I would always talk and be the loudest one in the room because I was trying to mask the fact that I didn't know enough yet. And she just told me, shut the fuck up and listen, and maybe you'll learn something. And I've taken that approach into so many different aspects of my life. Like I'm around billionaires that I'm in a room with that are impressed by me. And I'm like, I hope that I don't have to talk because I just want to watch you guys and learn. And it's the same thing you just brought up with you get to meet amazing people on your podcast and you probably learn so much from them. So sometimes it's great to, like, you get to ask the questions to get the answers that you want, right? Like imagine if I could just sit in a room and watch people talk all day. I had Anthony Smith at a dinner. I had the owner of Clean Skin Club, the owner of Javi Coffee, the owner of Brickell Men's Products, which is a huge hair pomade on Amazon. And I had the owner of one of the largest construction companies in Ohio. And then we had this master marketer, my friend Brandon, who owns, he's on Instagram. He's Bowsky, Bowsky. He like managed 9 billion in assets for like life insurance. He was unbelievable. Anthony Smith is a fighter who's looking for his next thing. He's sitting in a room with us. We're so impressed by him because we're all UFC fans. We all just want to hear him talk about who is going to win the fights on that Saturday when Paddy Pimblett and Michael Chandler fought and all those guys. And he's sitting there and he's like, taps me on the shoulder and he goes, Hudson, I learned more from this dinner than I feel like I ever have in my entire life. Just listening to you guys speak over dinner has changed my perspective on everything that I want to do when I retire. Imagine just sitting and getting able to listen to people at a high level. And that's all I want to do now. So yes, that's a long answer to what my mother taught me, which was to just shut up and listen. And it works.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I have ever received was thoughts become things. And when someone told me that, and if you really think about it long enough and hard enough, you'll understand that a lot of the outcomes in your life and things that happen to you or for you happen because of the way that you think. If you can think things into existence, which we all have and we all know exists off vibrations and frequencies, you can alter and change your entire life by thinking the right way. So once I learned that, my entire life changed. And it took years, but I believed every single day that it was happening. And one of the things that I did was every morning I just said that how grateful I was. And I said if I could look for 3 things that I'm grateful for every single day, all of a sudden every day they'll wake up and I'll be looking for things to be grateful for. And that changed everything for me. Instead of looking for like what was wrong, like if I ran out of fucking toothpaste, like I'm looking at like how grateful I am to just wake up and get up and walk. And if you could do those things, like just your whole frequency changes as a person. Your energy is different. The people you attract is different, everything.
What's the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Be realistic. To elaborate on that, there's no such thing. Being realistic is the box that you put yourself in. Being realistic is whatever the fuck you want it to be. So go be optimistic. Because you could just conquer anything in the world if you just believe that you could do it. But what's realistic? It's different to everybody. It's an opinion. Like, yeah, it's deep if you really think about it. But
You determine your reality.
100%. 100%.
Be realistic, but it's your reality, not other people's version of it. Well, everyone, this is the Jack Neal Podcast. This is your guest, Hudson Leogrande. Where can people find you?
My Instagram is @itshudson. That's it.
Beautiful.
That's all I got. No TikTok. So hit me up on Instagram.
Awesome, guys. See ya.
Peace.
Appreciate you,
Brother.